Hi. See, this is 1935. It's falling apart. Using both. This is the manual. I was given this manual by Colonel Dale Taylor, who was the last living instructor from pre-mechanization, uh, Fort Riley. And I was also trained by a European cavalry chief in Europe at Major Anders Lindgren from Strömsholm, which is the seat of the Swedish cavalry. At the time I went to Major Lindgren, I was going there as a dressage rider, and it actually took me till I got home and started putting everything together. And, things have to digest. And it was more than a year, I think, when I started to realize all the dressage he taught me, it's all the basic military riding. Okay, the purpose of this live stream, and I apologize for being 30 minutes late. I don't think any of you are live and had to deal with me being tardy. I had computer trouble. But this is the manual that we're going through. Now, it's big and it's very weirdly edited and in a strange order. So for first year riders, or first year in this program, horsemen and riders, I made what we needed for the first year into this workbook, and you can get a hold of me if you don't have the workbook. But if you're watching this video, chances are your instructor sent you here and you already have it. But it is helpful because it takes what will really get you well started in year one in an organized manner, in a manner organized that's easier to digest than this crazy mishmash of Saumur and Tordequinto and lots of different editors. And not that you won't go to the whole entire manual, but to start, I would get the workbook. And it's printed large and you can write notes, and it has there's blank pages in it for you to write extra notes, references, which you need to, because part of the problem of trying to navigate the instructions on your own is that you won't recognize things when you're reading through it. You're not going to realize, oh, that's on page 270 also. Like, you need to have have a teacher bring you through it. That's why I'm here. But you need to have a foothold. And I'm going to be giving you those references, like also see diagram 41, blah, blah. I think they call it figure 41. Anyway, we're going to get to that today. And again, I apologize for being late. I think I have to buy a new computer, but I did a big cleaning of it and arranging of it last night, and now nothing works today. Anyway, or I should say things are working very differently today and also very slowly. And then all of a sudden it works lickety split. So I don't get that. We are in the section on training the horse, education of the horse, chapter 3, training, section 23, principal factors in training. These instructions list 4 principal factors in training: the ability of the instructor, the rider, the work, meaning any method of training, and time. A, B, C, D. D is time. Today, we are on section 23B, the rider. I'm going to read it, and then I'm going to talk to you a little bit about it. And we're almost done because it's not a very long section, but it is very important. And I will also be referencing you to things that we've already talked about. And if you're coming into these discussions now, please go back and watch the earlier ones and watch with your workbooks, where is this? Yeah, this is where we are. Principal factors in training, but these notes that I've written, I'm going to be telling you them, and you need these margin notes. Okay. The rider. The personal ability of the rider is, however, okay, wait. It's the paragraph above it is on the the instructor, and now this paragraph is continuing on and says the personal ability of the rider is, however, the principal factor in the training of the horse. For however excellent may be the method of training, the quality of the horse, or the capability of the instructor, the horse will never be wholly trained or working well if the rider does not understand his part thoroughly. And the rider in the horse-man relationship is the brain of it. That means the rider really has to understand what to do and be able to do it. The primary requisite, therefore, for the training of a horse is a skillful rider. Now, many horse people believe themselves to be a skillful rider, and they are not. There are very, very famous and popular clinicians who have like their own TV shows and crap and write books and all this, and they are not trained riders and they are not skilled riders. And other media that I participate in can go into that discernment in more detail. But I'm going to try to tell you what a skilled rider to make a horse, to educate a horse, some of the qualities and skills that the rider must have. I also want to point out that last week when we were talking, or 2 weeks ago when we were talking about the general overview of training, a very important point was made, and I'm going to reread it. So one rider, and this is at the top of the same page we're on, one rider may execute, it's the end of section 22. One rider may execute all of the figures prescribed in the regulations in the most approved sequence and never obtain the result sought for. Another, a skilled and trained one, working on these same figures, but with a clearly defined objective and using his aids, which come through his educated seat, towards the attainment of this objective, will train the horse very quickly. So there is a separation. And being a good rider is not being a trained rider or a skilled rider. And I am not intending this to be an insult to anyone. I can remember the major saying to me, he was probably starting to get frustrated with me at one point, and I was riding a very wily, clever, athletic stallion. And he said, "My dear, you are not yet as skilled as he is smart." So if I can bear hearing that into my little earpieces, and I'm all alone, like the horse is laughing at me. He pointed that out too. You can bear to hear it from me. You must become an educated and skilled, competent rider. Now, the most obvious part of being a skilled rider is having an educated seat. And by a seat that passes muster must be faultless. So the seat cannot have any of the faults they're called common faults in all horsemanship, like that's a very basic, the common faults of the seat. A skilled rider can have none of the common faults because we've been seeing the common faults since we were children. They're in the Pony Club book. They're in this book too. They're in all of the books. You just simply cannot have a common fault of the seat. And it's very rare these days to find someone who doesn't have several of the common faults of the seat. And the reason why this is important because it is the seat that is the basic prerequisite for the application of the natural aids. The natural aids go through the seat. And so the seat must be impeccable and unimpeachable, really. It has to be really good. And the qualities of that seat, we will be talking about in this series, in this channel, when we get to chapter 2. This is chapter 3. We're going in this order for a reason. Chapter 3, titled The Military Seat, but you could always read ahead. And do remember that this, make sure you get 1935. Don't get any later than 1935 because it goes all wonky after World War II. That is public domain. You can Google it. You can find it right now after this is over and start reading, studying, really deeply inspecting chapter 2 on the military seat. A military seat is basically a dressage seat. It's the basic seat, and it is the seat that is adaptable to all riding. So if you have a correct military seat, that means it can be adapted to any kind of riding. It is a correct, balanced, elastic seat. Okay, so the seat must be impeccable, unimpeachable. And you guys are going to go ahead and start finding out about what that is specifically, even in advance of us discussing it in these lectures. The other thing that a skilled rider must have already in the mind. You can't learn, you do learn it in the arena, but then you're still a beginner having lessons. You're not a rider. You're not making a horse. In advance of making a horse, the rider must have a fluency, be fluent in the natural aids, the cause and effect of the natural aids. And third, I would say, let me see what my other note says. Yeah. Third, the rider must be, and I'm going to lower the bar letter a little, the rider must be competent in theoretical, it must have theoretical competence in doctrine, principle, and method. The reason why at this stage or at a useful stage, a rider can just have competence in theoretical competence in doctrine, principle, and method is because we are going to presume that the qualified instructor / trainer is profoundly knowledgeable. This is what the requirement is. Possesses a profound knowledge of the horse and of the theoretical and practical science of equitation. Therefore, if that instructor trainer is in the sand guiding a skillful rider who may not have the profound knowledge of the science of equitation and profound experience in knowing what to do when, that rider is still very useful because a skilled rider is as instant and obedient. And by obedient, I don't mean like dominated, submissive, oh, master. I don't mean that. I mean instant, automatic, following the instruction. Loosen his jaw and put his nose out 2 centimeters, lower his neck 2 centimeters, sit him down half a kilo on the right, now shorten your inside rein. That they go because an experienced trainer can and will and must be able to ride train through the rider. And I think of it very much as and to become a very experienced horseman, you have to go through that. You have to be the rider before you can be the trainer. A rider being in the three-part relationship of horse, rider, trainer, that rider is very much like an excellent horse. That rider is soft, that rider is absolutely attentive, and that rider is absolutely executing the thought that is imparted. Then and there, no judgment. And I can even remember a couple times in my education and in my training when I heard an instruction and I was like, whoa, that sounds like hair. Like if I had allowed my part of my mind that's not an obedient rider, I would be like, oh no, that we can't do that. That's wrong. That's not in the but I was wrong. And fortunately, I knew my instructor had profound knowledge. That's why I was there. And I did what he said. And I would say it took more than 6 months. And I was like, I still actually get kind of blown away when I think about how incredible that one piece of information has to do with the inside rein, actually. That, like, thank God I didn't go, wait, no, we have to do it from the outside rein. I was like, a little part of me went, oh no, I think this might be heresy, but I did what he said. And I did what he said the next time. And then I'm changing rein. And the horse is following my inside rein. And the changes of rein are very frequent. Which one is which? I don't even know. Is there a bearing effect from the outer rein? When I vanish my outer rein, is he following the inner rein, or is he following the inner rein because I use my inner rein? I don't know, but who cares? Because now we have a horse with a totally displaceable forehand. So I hope that was like a little preview from section 17 and section 33, which you can also look up. But the main point I'm trying to say is that a rider doesn't have to know it all and doesn't necessarily have to understand what's going on, but must be physically able to do what we're told, basically. That's such an unpleasant kind sounding connotation, but I happen to love it. I actually wrote a little song about doing what we're told. It is a wonderful liberty. And one of my favorite parts of being in training, and I've been in training several times in my career, man, do I love riding horses when I don't have to have a single thought, when I can just have it all. Someone else makes all the decisions, and I get to feel all of the wonder. So I'm just going to go through this again, or I'm going to read my note. A trained rider, a skilled rider has the qualities and second nature of a well-trained horse. So that means that rider is quick to say yes, quick to reply, listening first, and has enough physical self-control to remain totally loose, which is the fundamental requirement of an educated seat. Because without that looseness, or what the Germans called Losgelassenheit, that utter, complete absence of tension, the natural aids, the weight of the seat, the leg and the hand, can't go through. Okay, I think I went a little bit deeper into the rider, one of the 4 principal factors in training. Next week, we're going to talk about section 23C, which is the work that like literally, like the proportion of arena to outside, the arena, the proportion of conditioning to collection, or, aerobic to load bearing, blah, 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 like literally like the work, like what do we do with the horse? When and how much and how little, and how is it all measured and decided on? One important idea is that you can't skip arena work, but arena work is to make the horse ready to ride out. Okay,